Cool. My name is Alex. I'm the producer of Don't Die on Me 6. How are you?
Uh, yeah, I'm good. It is amazing meeting you, Alex, and thank you very much for making this call happen. And I'm Sudhir, and I represent Xander, our movie star, who has been in all this entire $2.7 billion franchise. So yeah, absolutely happy to have taken this meeting.
Super. Yeah, no, I was excited to take on this producer role. I think we have a real opportunity here with this franchise. So you got my first proposal, right? I think the script.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, so got the script and it looks good, and want to understand a little bit more of the detail in terms of where are you in terms of the cast, in terms of the roles, and what is your expectation coming into this meeting. So if you could give some sort of an idea on this, that will be amazing. So I can then say what is the position in terms of Xander as well, and then we can try and find a nice synergy and make this the sixth DDoM 6 a success. So please let me know.
Yeah, so it's been more than 30 years from the first movie. Of course, I think number two, number three were big successes, right? So now we're looking at the next step on this franchise. Our initial thoughts are to basically yeah, have this as a handover sequel where Sander could take, let's say, a secondary cast role, and then we bring another, let's say, fresher, younger actor to to transition and give that continuity to the franchise in the future, right? So that's the script that we share with you. Um, we also see some tendencies, right? I think it's important that we start to bring like new fresher faces and more diverse faces into the franchise to ensure that this is sustainable in the long term. We're eager uh, to do this this year. Also important for us is that this has to be a success, right? And that's why they brought me in, because they really want to make this a commercial success. Let's say more along the lines of Don't Die on Me 2 or 3 than maybe the later movies, which have been a little bit of let's say underwhelming in terms of revenue. So how does that sound for you? Is that aligned with your expectations and with Sanders' expectations? And
Uh, so we want to thank you very much in terms of your letting me know your position, and we I think both of us align on the point that this is the most successful franchise for the JMS studio, and that's a fantastic news that both you and I are also aligned on making this as successful, and I do agree in terms of the slump that was there between the 4 and the 5 movie, and we do not want that to be repeated, and we want to make sure that this becomes a success. And in terms of the 4 and 5, I also when speaking to my client and also talking to the previous producers, we figured out that it was due to promotional issues that we faced and some director issues as well there. So from our side, what we are trying to do to avoid those, we are going to get Xander to do much more better promotion this time around. So that is already going to take away and this was one of the concerns that the studio said last time, that he was not available for promotion because there was a bigger news in terms of his childbirth. So that had a big impact in terms of this, and that can be taken out. So already we are looking great in terms of how the six would look like. Um, so we are all making all the positive steps there, one. And the second thing that we are looking to make this the sixth movie, DDOM movie, successful, is the guy looks amazing. The guy is in the best shape possible. He looks 20 30 years younger. And we have been putting he's been on like this amazing diet from this MMA champ that he's been working out, and I couldn't even recognize him when I saw him walk out of the gym today. So that was, for me, in my eyes, a movie star there already, to be taken not just on the six, but probably seven and eight, maybe in the future as well. So I, as much as I like the handover sort of a concept and these things, I would like to see, because he's putting a lot of effort into the brand value that he's building, and the DDOM 2.7 billion infrastructure has been built on this particular guy. And I would like to see this go a little bit more further than just uh, DoD 6, right? So I would like to understand if we can use this guy as the cast member to be in the lead role, and if there is any opportunity to explore in this area, uh, because we do not want to hurt the brand of the DDOM, because we have been reading some of the press news and the gossips that have been coming out with the new lead. So we want to see if we can change that position where we can get Xander into the lead sort of a role, if that is something that we can explore.
Okay, so just to play back what I hear, right? So you acknowledge, let's say that there were some promotion issues around the fourth and the fifth, and you're interested now in making Sander more active as part of the promotion. I think that's great. It's great to hear that. Like the fans love Sander, so it's great to have him. Um, I'm also hearing that you'll be interested in, let's say, in deals that go beyond only DDM6, but also potential sequels, right? Um, and that you'll be interested in Sander taking a lead role.
Yes.
Um, okay. Listen, I
I
think. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I can do even one better for you. Right. So you are thinking about the handover and that sort of legacy as well. I have got Xander's daughters who are also entered into this field of acting and movie playing, and I represent them as well. Right. So what is even better than getting a real daughter as an handover story, and with all the women in movie movement and women empowerment going on in current scenario? This would be an amazing way to get our franchise even double or triple the value in the future. So that is even a amazing option that I wanted to put for you on the table. We have as a family unit, and these girls are already in like A-list roles, and they are doing amazingly well. And that would be a way to move the movie for DDOM 7 and 8 in the future as well. So that's another one. I wanted to keep this as a surprise for you, where we can build an amazing franchise out of this for your studio.
Okay, but how does that reconcile with the wish to have Sander in the lead role? So would you think of a Hanover, let's say, movie now with one of the daughters as a lead role, or would you think of still of having Sander as a lead role for this movie, potentially with some supporting feature of his daughter, looking at maybe having a more of a handover uh, the script
So
later on.
fantastic question, right? So I wanted to bring both the options open to you. So in the sense like, hey, we've got a superstar looking guy who's looking younger, 20 years younger than what he is, what his age number says, and he's carried this franchise over for the last 30 years. And he's made such a big impact, and he's created this fan base who can, I believe, can carry one or two movies further. Then we also have this option of having this, if you're looking for, and if you cannot nudge on the lead role, right? And if you're fixated on like, no, we want this as an handover, so I want to make sure that I have given you that flexibility and that option as well, that we have a superstar in the making as well in our hand, who's coming up through the ranks and has also had the fan following, and has that father daughter moment which is more emotional and connects with the audience better. So that's the reason why I bought both the options to you, for you to like decide which way would you lean, and then we can go from there on.
Okay, no, great. Listen, I think we acknowledge that fans, especially in Asia, which is a growing area, they they love Sander, right? So um, I think the option that you present of having Sander as a lead role, as a lead character, especially if you say that he's in such a great physical shape, that is very attractive for us. Um, of course, he's past 60, right? So you never know what's going to happen past 60, right? So we would also be taking a risk, let's say, by having Sander as a lead protagonist. But I'm really interested in making sure that our incentives align, right? So what what I would like to propose is to have Sander then in the lead role for DDOM 6 with a performance-based option then to have him also in DDOM 7, right? So what I would like to propose is if uh, we have Sander now as the main lead protagonist in movie number 6. If we meet our target of 400 million in revenue from this movie, then I can guarantee you at least a 500K payment to Sander for for a secondary role in DDOM number 7, right?
Okay. uh,
So
So, first, thank you very much on this. So, first one I want to address is the risk that you highlighted, right? So, the risk you highlighted is they are past 60. What do we do? So, that's the reason why we also brought in the daughter angle into this, so that you have this continuated franchise that we can build on. So, we do not want you to go into loss when you're putting into so much effort we built into this franchise, and we want that continuation sort of thing going forward. Absolutely. And in terms of DDOM 7, absolutely appreciate where you're coming from, and what needs to happen. And we can 100% at that point of time, we have to be honest in terms of the negotiation, or anything that you want to have at that point of time, whether you want to continue or not continue as a clause that you said you want to put in. Absolutely respect it, because you want to see the success of it and then see how it can be done, and you have to protect where you're coming from. So I agree on whatever you've said on that side. So how do we like, what sort of numbers are you looking for in terms of the DDOM 6? So let's get down to the details and see how we can make this happen.
okay, so for DDM6, what I have in mind is a $2 million compensation for Sander, which is in line with what we have paid for the last movies. Um, and then what we can also do is to give a secondary role uh, to the daughter, right? And I will not include that as part of, let's say, the monetary discussion, right? Because I think that's more a matter of exposure, and then for both of us to have the option of them transitioning the franchise or like the lead character of the franchise to the daughter at a later point based on success and others. So that will be my first proposal, I would say, to go with Sander for the 2 million compensation.
Okay. Uh, so I was hoping that it'll be a lot more than this because if you see, so I let me ask you one more question in terms of what sort of revenues are you looking for from this movie, from DDOM 6? What is the studio forecasted for this movie?
So for us, this is a very important project, right? Let's say if you look at DDOM 5, that was 300 million. Um, DDOM 3 was 650. Um, so ideally, we will be somewhere in that range, at least.
Okay. Uh, so if we look at so you are looking at say somewhere in the range of 300 to 400 sort of 400 million sort of revenue movie, right? So
Correct.
that's the aim for us. So at least if we have to look at a 400 million dollar movie, and from the position that we are in currently, this is the top grossing movie according to the studio. And if you see within the history of the last sort of 5 movies that has been done, uh, Xander is always, whether I understand the promotion part and all these things, and even without promotion, he was like 3 times the amount of the general movie currently being produced by the JMS studio. So he's still a top sort of A-list celebrity that is actually making a lot of impact in the JMS studio, on averaging around a million, sorry, half a billion in terms of turnover on average across all the projects, which is around 2.7 billion, right? So the whole overall value. So I feel like the last 2 movies did not compensate enough, which also kind of him feeling the need not to go and do the promotions and all these things because he was not incentivized enough from his perspective to actually go and put that extra effort into pushing all these things. And we know how much Xander's face sell. As you mentioned, in Asia, he's an upcoming, he's really recognized star as well. So hence the reason why I said 2 million is extremely low. And we understand the situation in the past where he had a family, he's not able to come in, and he was not in the best shape, and all the other factors that played into it. But it's a complete opposite turnaround story of it's almost like you're seeing Sylvester Stallone, right? That's how he looks now. And we are really building a big franchise now, and I think this is a turning point for us to take this further into the 5-6 billion mark in the future. And for that, and the potential it has got, I feel like 2 million is extremely low. So I would like to understand if you have any wiggle room that we can go up, and where is it that what is the breaking point that you say you will not do after that?
So what I will propose then um, um, will be um, 2 million right? But I'm really keen in making sure that our incentives are aligned, right? And then to make sure that our incentives are aligned, what we can do is 1% of the total revenues. So in that way, we make sure that Sander is also motivated to be part of the promotion. Um, Another concession that we can make is that as we will need to revise the script now that Sander will take the lead role, he can also take part of influencing the script, right? So we can he can co-create or be part of that creative process, which I think has been, uh, let's say, maybe something that could have been work in the past, but we recognize that Sander's creative input has have brought a lot to the franchise. Um, so I think that is a proposal that aligns us quite well, right? And then um, your success is my success, is Sander's success. It really aligns up on the incentives, right, to make this work for everyone. And as I said, you still have kind of like that, let's say, option for a secondary role on DDOM 7, which I can guarantee you at least for a $500,000 contract if we hit that target of 400 million in revenue.
Okay. So in regards to, I appreciate the 1% offer, and I think it'll be great if the average that has been given so far is the for the best performing ones have been around 1.5% in terms of the revenue to the winning earning rate, revenues to the payment ratio. So if we could keep that sort of 1.5 or 1.6 sort of ballpark, that'll be amazing.
So
If we can.
it's 2 million plus the 1%. So you're already there on that 1.5% range.
So in terms of the base rate, I would think the 2 million is absolute. It's going to be really tough for me to go back and convince for a 2 million role. So we need to push the base. So I would like to push the base a little bit higher, and then make sure that we get about 1.5% as we go further. The reason I'm saying this is Xander was paid for a $2.7 billion franchise. If it would have been a 0.01%, it would have been $27 million in payment. But I feel like this has been he's been undercompensated. He's not even reached that 1% mark. But the franchise has built into a really big target there. So that's the reason why I said, like, hey, we can make it fair on Xander as well, who's put in a lot of effort to and be a face on this side. So that will be absolutely great if we can get to that 1.5% and bump this number up to sort of $5 or $6 million as the base payment.
Um,
Because the whole thing is we are building it past the franchise number 6, and hence we are bringing in the additional support role and trying to get that and make sure that this is going to double in the future, right? So that's the whole idea, and make it a profitable venture.
Listen, I really want to make this work. So what I can offer to you is I will double um, the base pay. I can do that. Base pay, bring it to 4 million, and um, then we can work on a 1.5% of revenue with a cap at 10 million total compensation.
Okay. So the I appreciate in like the position change in terms of the um, push in terms of your base, but I think it'll be good if we can get at least to sort of a 5 million base, and the cap, it'll be good to cap it based off on uh, like a decremental order or some sort of so once we pass, let's say, the 400 million mark, then you can sort of reduce it to up to a certain point, and then we kind of work on that, rather than saying like, hey, we'll put in all this effort and we are bringing all the family members in and we are trying to build a bigger franchise, and they don't get, Xander and Xander's family doesn't get anything out of it at all going in the future. So that is going to be a bit of a pain, but I totally get it. But if we can remove the cap, that will be amazing.
Yeah, I cannot remove a cap. As you may understand, I have some, I have a mandate that I need to stay within. Um, what I can do to make it simple, right, and work with a fixed percentage, is I can leave the 1.5% um, percentage with the 4 million base, um, capped at 11 million.
So the overall earnings of Xander's would stop at 11 million, is it?
Correct.
And okay, and in terms of the opportunity for the Xanders to get in and do some creative approaches and things like that, this is one other thing that you had proposed. You would appreciate Xander to bring his wisdom in terms of the direction and production and all these things. And also, we could get some sort of a support role for his daughter into the project, so we have the continuation
Yeah, so
into the future.
correct. So that we have the option then. What I envision is that there will be a set of secondary characters with Sanders' daughter taking one of those roles, so that we have the option then to, in DDOM 7, for example, to to make her kind of the protagonist, for example, right? Think about kind of Marvel, how it works, right? In one you have Deadpool, in the other one you have I don't know, Captain America, these type of uh, options,
Okay,
and then we
so
can increase the value of the franchise.
okay, so then I will have to ask you one final question in terms of like, okay, I'm coming from a place of trust, so is this the best you can do for Xanders? And if you say if this is the maximum that can be done, I understand your position.
This is the best that I can do.
Okay.
You need to appreciate as well that now, to say, we're gonna have higher costs if we need to adopt the script and everything, right? So um, yeah, I think this is a good outcome. Like, I think our incentives are aligned now. We have the opportunity with the daughter. We give more creative freedom to Sander. We also make sure that Sander is part of the promotion tours. I think he's also incentive to do that. So I think this is a fair um, outcome for all of us, and that will allow us to really, let's say, get as much value from the franchise as we can.
I totally get where you're coming from. So the mandate and the figure or where we were was around, or what was expected at least from this deal was around 18 sort of million was our mandate to get into this sort of conversation. So I was hoping that we will be a lot closer to that number. So 11 million seems lot lower. So that's the reason why I have to ask this question, because it is a bit of a struggle from our side to go back and justify, because 11 and 8 is still far. So if we can like fall somewhere closer to 15 or something, that will be great. So I'm really struggling
Yeah.
to make
No,
sense of this.
that's really out of my possibilities, and that's really. I think we both want to extract as much value here of a long successful story, right? I think even with a much younger leading actor, I wouldn't be able to go to those numbers.
Okay. Okay, this is great. Then let's lock out Xander's proposition of 11 million at least to start off with, even though
Yeah,
it's
but
it is
so
it
so
is it
so so
is
let's make sure that we got the terms right. So it's 4 million base, and then
yeah,
1.5%
on
of
revenues.
revenue
Yes, 11 million
capped
cap.
at 11. With, let's say, then the daughter as a in a secondary role, which is going to be aligned with the other secondary actors.
Yeah,
Um,
so for the daughter's part, we could look at what we can get out of the conversation as well. So I would like to understand if we can get the pay of the daughter aligned. So since she has the potential, and she's going to become basically she's going to play Xander's sort of support role in DDOM 6, and then she's going to potentially star on the DDOM 7. So if we can align maybe the same 2 million to start off with for her in the supporting role, that'll be amazing.
no, I'm sorry, but I cannot negotiate the terms for the secondary roles. Uh,
Oh, we can make this as one single contract, as a Xander family contract, and we just say like, hey, get
no, no,
this
like
get
my
this number aligned.
expectation will be that the daughter will be like, uh, yeah, like the other secondary characters that we get.
So how much would that be? So we can put as a single package, and we can just it'll be much easier for us to get Xander to. So I'm trying to work with finding a package that will be suitable for Xander, right? He's coming in at 18 million, maybe around the ballpark of 15, but I will be able to, if you help me out, I'll be able to find an angle to say like, hey, this is a package that we are giving you, comes with your daughter, and we can push this up for him. So that's where I'm trying to come from, so that I can go and get him aligned. And I don't want him to say no because he is fixated on this number of 15 or 18 million. So I want to, that's why I'm creating a package where we can have this sort of
Yeah,
situation jointly to go for it.
I mean,
What
at
can
this
you do
point,
best? That's it.
at this point, for me to be able to, I mean, what we're discussing, right? For example, will be like a secondary role will typically go for a 500K contract.
Okay. 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 And is there any percentage options that we can give to the daughter as or nothing?
That will be aligned with the other secondary characters. I cannot
Okay.
negotiate that separately.
So yeah, so if we that's okay then. I understand, and if this is the best you can do, let's then shake on it and then say like, hey, I can at least go and position a $11.5 million package to Xander's plus his daughter, and find the angle of his daughter where he's also very keen and invested in in his daughter's success. So maybe we can find synergies to convince him to say like, hey, this is a big opportunity and we can push further from there. So
Yeah.
does that sound like reasonable to you?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. On top of that, right? So we get Sander to really be part of the promotion so that we're not gonna have the same problems as last time. And we give Sander also, let's say, some influence on the script um, as
Okay.
well. So yeah, 4 million base, 1.4% revenue, cap at 11, a daughter on a secondary role at 500K. Sander becomes part of the promotion, and Sander gets some influence on the script. And then the other thing was the option of having Sander at in DDOM 7.
Okay. So for now, I would say like let's get the DDM 6 done, and let's finalize the numbers on this before we go and see what DDM 7 does, and we can
Yeah.
maybe
So
do that
what?
on a later date.
Yeah. So what I'm offering you is the option, right? To
Absolutely.
if we really gross above 400K, then I can guarantee Sander at least a 500K role in DDOM 7.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That is fantastic. So yeah. So if we are happy, then we can shake on it, and then we can stop the negotiation.
All right. Super. Okay. Cool. This was fun.
uh, it's still recording. Do you want like a debrief for 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah. Let me stop
Yeah.
it.